Hi, this is Chris Young, and welcome to Good News on Tap for the 24th Sunday of Ordinary Time. There are well over 3,000 questions in the Bible, and this week's Gospel contains what many people say is the most important question of all. It's when Jesus asks his disciples, "Who do you say I am?" He first asks them, "Who do other people say that I am?" And the disciples give him a variety of public opinion answers. Then Jesus asks the big question, "Who do you say I am?" And Peter answers quickly, "The Christ." The word Christos is Greek for Messiah or Savior. Peter correctly identifies Jesus as the Messiah, the promised Savior. Despite the fact that Peter is quick to identify who he thought Jesus was, a few verses later, when Jesus tells him that he's going to be rejected by the leadership and that Jesus is going to have to suffer and die, then Peter rebukes Jesus. "Say it isn't so, Jesus." Jesus probably should have asked Peter, "Who do you think you are?" A minute ago he was recognizing Jesus as the Messiah. Now he's trying to tell him whether or not he can die. Jesus' reaction is to snap back at Peter and say, "Get behind me, Satan." Not only is Jesus expressing a disappointment at Peter, but he's really saying, "Don't tempt me to give up my mission. Don't tempt me to not die, because this is hard. This is what I've got to do, and it's no piece of cake." Then he says something to his disciples that's an even bigger challenge. Jesus says, "Whomever wishes to come after me must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." Now there's no doubt when Jesus says that we have to take up our cross and follow him, that he means we have to give up our life for our faith. This past Thursday I began my 25th year as an RCIA catechist, and I talked about that particular statement, "Take up your cross and follow me." I was explaining the subtle variations between the synoptic gospels of Mark, Matthew, and Luke. I explained that each of these evangelists were writing gospels at different times for different audiences, and they adapted the words of Jesus to meet their particular needs. We're reading from Mark this week, but Matthew's version is virtually identical in saying, "Take up your cross and follow me." But Luke has a slightly different version. Luke writes that Jesus said, "Take up your cross and follow me each day." That's because Matthew and Mark were writing for people who were very much risking their life by being Christian. Christians were being very much persecuted. On the other hand, Luke's audience lived in a time and a place where it was easier to be a Christian. Also, Luke's entire gospel is about a journey and a process. So Luke understands that the day-to-day struggles of living a Christian life and giving yourself over to God are a way to figuratively take up your cross and follow Jesus, by doing so a little bit at a time each day. For many years when I taught this particular lesson, I always said it was great that we lived in Lucan times rather than Markan or Matthean times, where we would not be likely to have to give up our life for our beliefs. However, this week we remember an event that changes our perspective on these passages. 8 years ago this week, hundreds of firefighters and police officers went up the stairs of burning skyscrapers and lost their lives because of their commitment to what they believed in, their commitment to help their fellow human beings. Ordinary citizens stormed the cockpit of a hijacked airplane, not only to save themselves, but to save our nation's capital from a similar attack. A couple of years prior to that, a pair of very disturbed high school students in Littleton, Colorado, walked into Columbine High School and pointed a gun in the face of a teenage girl who everyone knew was a person of strong Christian faith. The government asked her "Are you a Christian?" She proudly said, "Yes, I am." And he killed her for it. So now we return to the primary question at hand. Who is Jesus to you? Is he your God to whom you turn in only times of crisis or need? Is he a God who you only visit once an hour in church every week? Are you really ready to take up your cross and follow him, whether it is, as Luke suggests, in an ordinary day-to-day struggle of living a Christian life? Or as Mark and Matthew warn us, as Jesus is someone who we can follow, even to death, a literal sacrifice of our life for our faith and for our fellow human beings? The answer to the question, "Who do you say I am?" is not one that we can immediately answer with certainty. Even Peter wavered in his faith and his answer to the question. Yet it is the central question of Christian life that should be on our minds for our entire life. And remember that even though Peter's faith did waver at times, Jesus still chose him as the rock upon which his church was founded. So I guess there's hope for all of us. And that's Good News on Tap for the 24th Sunday of Ordinary Time.